Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And I just want to kind of give this little shout out just because it's getting towards the very end, but there's still I think, by the time this episode goes up, I think 4 or 5 days left of the Pizza Boyz with a Z Kickstarter. It's fully funded, but that doesn't mean there's not still tons of other books and fun stuff to be had. And those pizza cutters came in with the bottle openers on them, and they actually look really sick. They came out sweet.
Awesome. Can't wait to get mine.
So anybody wants to grab themselves a pizza cutter, that's there. I got 125 of them. Well, actually, I've gotten rid of some of them so far. Or sold some of them. But yeah, they're actually, I was pretty impressed, because I was hoping. That's kind of, you get those things, you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe that's just be kind of cool. It's like, no, they actually are pretty sweet. But,
it's also something still practical.
Yeah, it's so practical. I mean, even if you didn't use it for a pizza cutter, I mean, you got a bottle opener that's really cool. The pizza cutter itself looks like I need to go get like a DiGiorno pizza or something to go test it out on and see how it all kind of works. Get some some sexy poses of it, like with the pizza cutter.
Ass out, like cutting the pizza.
Ooh.
For some reason, the sales just dropped.
Yeah, I thought that would have made it gone up. I don't know what happened. Now you're going to be stuck with another 100 of those pizza cutters. But
I just realized the way it's like I got mine. I literally did get mine, but the way I realized I said it almost sound kind of like like pizza cutters. I'm Pizza Boyz. Get it right over here. I'm like, oh, and I'm just like some guy in the audience wearing a fedora. Like, oh wow, that sounds amazing. I'll take 5.
Yeah, I'd be like, sign me up for one too, please.
Make the rounds. I come back like in a Groucho Marx mustache and like nose.
Yeah, I know. Just different costumes, like a Wookiee mask and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's going good. I'm glad that kind of. That was one of those ones where like it was very like the most like steadiest like kind of Kickstarter. It was just like every day it just went up slightly. Like I didn't have that like instantaneous. It was just like a continuous build. But yeah, books are there. I already ordered the books, so. I mean, like, I'm going to have this, like, so much... Literally, where everybody else is kind of, like, lazy about their Kickstarters. I mean, I'm just saying. You see some people are like, I'm not going to get that book for 6 months. Like, what the hell's wrong with you guys? But, like, my stuff, it's all pretty much ready to go. I'm way ahead of the curve.
Your thing is, it's more of, like, just take the sting off the price. You're kind of putting forward, like, all right, the book is already done and drawn out. It's just a matter of just getting backing for the physical print and all that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's more like, it's not even that. I consider it like it's a way just to make it feel like it's a launch party. Like, boom, here it is. Come grab the book. Make it seem a little bit more special than just kind of being like, hey, it's up on Amazon. Go get it whenever you feel like it. You know what I mean? I feel like it makes it kind of like that, where it's not like technically like, oh, I need some money because I got an idea about werewolves. I mean, I've never really done anything before, but I thought I'd just give it a go. Not one of those projects where you're like, what's this kid gonna do with money? Or
this is as far as I got, but yeah, money, please.
Or there's literally another one up there on Kickstarter where people just like flipped a bitch on Twitter because these other guys from like Comic Central area, this comic called Rags, they made like a joking Indiegogo one, be like, it was called like Rags Takes the Money and Run. And they got up to like over $500, and it literally just said, "We're just gonna take this money. I mean, we might give it to a charity, we might do something, but we just want." I think they were doing it as a joke. I mean, like I kind of got it, but it sure pissed some people off. I saw. There's somebody's like, "What the fuck?" You're like, "I work on projects all day long. I do all this stuff, and I can't even get like $20, and these guys do nothing, and they get fucking $500. Fucking bullshit." I couldn't figure out what was going on for a while. Like I was like, "What the hell is going on here? Why is everybody so up in arms?"
So these guys who had a comic on Comic Central. Sorry, Comic Experience is a local comic book store here. Comic Central, they had they were putting a book out there, and they made a joke somewhere in there that they're gonna send it to charity, and people got all pissed off about that.
No, it's their book's called Rags, and it's kind of like a zombie kind of hunter type book or so on. They've had it for a while. But what this one was is I think they just made an Indiegogo that had nothing to do with like even the book. It was just like it was literally called Rags Takes the Money and Run. And I think they just wanted to see like how far it actually went, and then people just kept donating money to it. And granted, I'm pretty sure they'll put it towards something useful. It's not like they're just gonna take people's because they're at like a $700 last time I checked or something like that.
But good for them.
Yeah, good for them. I guess it's nice when you can just make money without having to even sell a single thing. But yeah. But it made, there was a couple other comic book people that were just like, they were just so like angry, and I couldn't figure out what it was. It was kind of like, there was like another day about like, it seemed like a month ago or something like that. People were like so pissed because like, oh, somebody's like, you know, free comics is like the devil. So, you know, I mean, like if someone's stealing comics, it's like there's, you know, it reminded me like that commercial you'd see on like DVDs back in the day. It's like, you wouldn't steal like an old lady's purse, would you? You wouldn't like rape a nun. Well, why would you steal a DVD?
I remember that. Like, I'm not sure if there's a difference. I think there's a difference between those two. Like, oh no, there's not. It's like a gateway drug. You steal a DVD, next thing you know, you're fucking a nun in the face. It's gonna happen like later that day. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be doing crack and everything. You know what I mean? Like, they really try to make it out like stealing a DVD. I mean, like, granted, I get it. I know what they're meaning by it, but you know, sometimes there's those things where it's like, okay, you know, a kid stealing the DVD is not the same as a kid fucking robbing a liquor store.
It wasn't even comparing like stealing a DVD. It was like comparing illegally watching a movie online.
Oh yeah, maybe that's what it sort of was. Well, whatever. There was like,
you wouldn't like fucking do crystal meth in church. You know, it would always make like the weirdest like comparison.
But it was something else. There was some other thing, and I bet you anything. I was like, I bet you it's not even like a real indie person like complaining about it. I bet you it was like some fucking person working for like Image, just like, oh, I found a website where you can download my comic. These fuckers are like taking away my like livelihood, and it's probably like, yeah, your livelihood where, you know, boy, you got a couple guys downloading your free book, but the rest of it gets to be bought in the store. That's pretty well lost off. I mean, granted, I didn't research it far enough, but that's where I just kind of put pieces together. I just assumed it. It's just like, you know what? At the end of the day, it comes down to like that Metallica thing back with like Napster. You should just be grateful that they're fucking actually listening to your music or they're reading your comic. Because here's the thing. Maybe they get one for free, but in the long run, next thing you know, they're fucking buying a t-shirt from you. You know what I mean? They're getting whatever your next book is. Maybe they get really into it and then they start buying it. You know what I mean? Sometimes free can turn into something in the long run. I mean, I like to look at that as a positive way. Like, granted, yeah, you don't want to steal stuff from people. I mean, like, kind of, I mean, digital's such a weird one. It's like, is it stealing or is it just like a weird way of borrowing? You know what I mean? Is it like,
I think it's kind of a case-to-case basis, really.
Yeah, is it like equivalent? I mean, it's no real different than going over to your friend's house, I guess, and reading that same comic. You still didn't spend the money and you got the exact same experience, but you don't own it in the long run. You know what I mean? But
well, there's an example. Like, this is gonna make you look nice, but it's also, hopefully, I guess you could edit this part out if you don't want people to know this. But the last Comic-Con we were both at, you were handing Pizza Boyz out, and there was one guy who came up, and it was somebody we kind of knew, but not like best friends or anything. He's just like, he was like, can I have it? Just like, you were nice and said, yeah, sure. I would have been like, it's $5 I spent like how many months on this? Fuck you, $5. You know, so I wouldn't have maybe said it exactly like that, but in that kind of case, I'm like, for how like much work you put into it, and how little you're asking back, like single issues, what, like $3, $2?
Yeah,
sometimes?
well, it was single issue, and it was sort of like the very first print, so they're kind of I don't call them like misprints, but they're the ones that have some errors in it that like I just didn't catch right away. So it's kind of like,
I'm gonna give one away. Here's the one.
Yeah, like I wasn't really giving away like my really good stuff. You know, I thought like also this would kind of get him kind of away from here. Sometimes it's like you're blocking the way for customers, son. Get out of here.
You just like throw it like a frisbee, like go, go, go.
He starts running off after it, trips over his own shoelaces, gets back up again.
Yeah.
So it was more like that. Like, it wasn't like I was giving like a full-on graphic novel or something kind of nice. I was just more like, well, here's a single issue that I kind of need I'm trying to just get rid of anyways. Whatever, just get out of here. Scat.
Yeah. Shoo. But
yeah, it's just one of those ones. Like, I mean, like, granted, like, yeah, like you want to get paid for your stuff. I definitely, I mean, I'm all down for that. You know, that's why I don't think you should always really give stuff out for free. But I think if you're going to spend so much time bitching and moaning about somebody who like somehow, some way downloads your book for free, it's kind of like, I think you just got to look at the positive, because like that's just going to happen anyways. I think we're past the point where you just can't escape that. I think the best thing to go is like maybe that free look that they get turns them into a super fan. That's just, I think that's just the best way to go about it. You know what I mean?
Bring them back around.
Maybe next thing you know, that guy will be fucking blowing you in the parking lot. You don't know. He'd be so excited.
I read your book, and it just drops to his knees. Like, I knew this would happen one day.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know where that's gonna be going. So I think that's the only way to.
I mean, I didn't. That wasn't on a list of 10 things. That wasn't the first thing that popped in my head. But I mean, if you get there, I guess cool.
Be like, dude, I'm so sorry, man. I stole your comic off the internet. I read it for free. How can I make it up to you? Fuck.
Is that Dr. Pepper chapstick I see?
Better put that on.
You best put that to use. Like, I understand.
So yeah.
Put that in the afterwards.
Grab some fucking Pizza Boyz off Kickstarter.
that would make a funny little afterwards, like at the end of the book. Like right before this book got published, you won't believe what happened. Anyway, but going from like, indie stuff to probably the biggest character from one of the biggest comic companies out there, from one of the biggest writers.
We go to Superman year 1, right? First year. That's what it's called. It's called year 1, but it really throws me off because it's like really like Superman first 20 years.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good fucking point.
That's all I thought when I was reading that book. I'm like, is this book really called Superman Year 1? Because there is like literally, it's not even just like a couple years. I mean, it is literally like Superman 20 years. It's like Superman pretty much to the point where he becomes like, I guess you'd say regular Superman. You know what I mean? Him kind of growing up. And it's really just a story of like Superman and all his different loves. It's just like super love.
Yeah, well, at the same time, I guess it first starts off like year 1. I guess issue 1, where that ends, because he's Superman, he works extra hard, he gets shit done fast. From where the first issue ends, I think from there on in, it could be like 1 year, possibly, for him. I'm not sure if it said like 3 years later in there between issues or anything like that, but I can honestly see him getting that much done in that much time.
Yeah, I'll say that probably once it gets past, like, I guess you would say, like, the grammar school kind of high school years, when it goes from, like, Superman in the Navy, which is fucking weird, but okay, we'll go with it, to like, the end of the book, I could see that being year 1. And that's probably what it means. Like, so Frank Miller's like, yeah, that's what it fucking means. Get it fucking right, you retards. Oh, thanks, Frank.
Like, are you dense? Yeah. No, well, here's about Frank. And I say him like I know him, but I feel like how many books of his I've read and seen him in interviews, I kind of do by this point. Frank Miller is one of these guys who is on a certain level like a genius, and he brought Batman back in a big bad way. He made Daredevil popular for a period. He actually, it's a lot
he
of
made Daredevil popular for a period, and then that just went away.
Well, no, because he disappeared. Because once he got to the '90s, like Daredevil was on the verge of being canceled, but because but people were saying, "Oh, that Frank Miller shit was the best shit," And then, he would, I don't know, he's one of those people, like, he every so often says some crazy shit in an interview, like when Occupy Wall Street was happening, which, I'm not going to go into the whole other thing here, but it was, I'm not sure if you'd say it was misguided, if it was a little misguided or not well organized. He said something like, a public statement about them, maybe it was taken out of context, but he said, like, all those Occupy Wall Street, like, people, like, he's talking about the protesters, should be shot in the street for all the thieves and rapists they are. Like, Jesus Christ, that's suddenly, like...
Buy my new Batman book!
Or it's like, he has, like, for instance, the book Holy War, which he said was meant to be somewhat, like, propaganda, so I'm not sure if it's supposed to be satirical or somewhat, like... self-referential, but then became like people missed the point of that, so it just came across, or you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to say with that one. That one I only read parts of, but so whenever he went back to like Batman, like he went back to like All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder, people hated that book, and it wasn't. I liked the book.
I don't know what.
Well, when you think back, when you think back on that book, really think back on it, and I like it just because the artwork is so good and it just has some interesting scenes. There's not really a full-through narrative. It's kind of just all over the place. The one consistent thing is Batman goes, tracks down Robin, beats the fuck out of him, and says, "Boy, you're gonna work for me now."
Boy, you're drafted to a war.
Yeah. And then, like, him kind of, just really being hard on Robin. And then... beyond that, we never really have like a set enemy we never, because maybe he was planning that, but we never got around to it. But we never had a set enemy. For 1 minute, he's going up against like Clark and Wonder Woman. Not one other minute, he's going up against Green Lantern out of nowhere, and it's one of those things where it's interesting. But at the same time, it's not like the best fully formed like plot, and maybe it was taking a minute to get to where it was going. I'm sure he was planting the seeds, but it got canceled, or he just gave up part way, or they said, dude, this is enough, we're stopping here. I'm not sure what happened there, but then coming back to this, I guess this is him trying to, it seems like I love Dark Knight 3, and this seems kind of like Dark Knight 3, and this seems kind of like him trying to make up for how he always portrayed Superman.
Yeah, that's sort of how this one kind of feels, because, Superman always kind of got the shaft sort of like in his earlier stuff. I just think that Frank was just not... there's just some people out there that just don't care for Superman as much, but I think he's almost come around to it. And in this one, he's like, I get it. Superman, he just wants to get fucking laid all the time. That's just Superman. It's 4 stories of Superman trying to get chicks, but, he's always off going somewhere else next. That's the story of Superman.
Well, it kind of is, because it goes on, like, and it's kind of funny, because a lot of it just drops like nothing. So the story is basically, the first issue, a lot focuses on his school life through his, it's the whole thing, like, boy crashes out in the, you know the fucking story.
Yeah,
the
the
fucking
Superman.
Ship crash.
I will say,
Ship
though, like...
explodes, he lands in a fucking cornfield, he walks out, I'll say this, he walks out kind of like his hand, he has like a cap on, he's wrapped in the cape, he has his arms out like, behold, for I have returned. He kind of has this look like little baby Clark Kent. And then as it goes on, it's just kind of like you see him, interacting with Lana, interacting with other kids in school, and it's pretty straightforward, and you see that he has trouble like blending in with the popular kids, and he's kind of hanging out with all the geeky kids. Mm-hmm. But what I like, because this is so fucking Frank Miller, because he's hanging out with all the geeky kids, but the one geeky kid who just kind of like screws him over and is kind of a douchebag and does not have a turnaround is the douchey little goth kid.
Yeah, they got this total goth kid. At first I was like, is this supposed to be his friends? Like, oh no, that just turns out to be like Frank was like, fuck that kid.
Well, he's like, because he, at some point, I think he stood up for that kid. He kind of sticks up for all these other kids in his group, like Pete Ross and some other ones. Mm-hmm. And then, there's like
Pete, your head's too fucking big for the space helmet. Let me crack it open for you while no one's looking.
Yeah, it's like that kind of shit. And all these kids are always, the thing is, they're always trying to start shit with them. And Frank Miller, the thing is, sometimes he has like some of the best villains. Sometimes he has like some of the most like hateable villains, and it's not it's not that they're anything deep, but I think you're just meant to be like, fuck these kids, because there's the standard kind of bully kids that are just like, we'll show you what's up, and they keep on taking swings at him. He's like, dude, you can see it could easily beat the fuck out of you, but you keep on taking these swings, Mm-hmm. And there's these scenes where he's tussling with these kids, but it's more just him avoiding and trying not to kill them, essentially, because it kind of says like one wrong move they could break their whole neck.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, it's like Dad always says, keep it light, keep it held back, and it is just they just kind of go through this thing where Clark's sort of like just holding back his whole life. He holds back on reading, he holds back on tests, he holds back on fighting, he holds back on football. You know what I mean? He holds back on that's like his like political edge. He holds back on stuff.
Like everything, yeah. And then the part where it gets suddenly kind of intense is where
Lana's
one
about
day
to get raped. Like she gets fucking dragged out of her fucking house by like these 4 people. Like, you know what? We can't fucking beat up Clark's friends. We're just gonna fucking rape his girlfriend right here.
Which that got kind of intense there, and this is where Clark comes in, and he's still holding back. He says, you know what? I have no problem paralyzing some motherfuckers right now.
Yeah, I'm going to the fucking Navy. Fuck this shit.
Well, it looks like I gotta leave the country. Bye, babe! But it has this whole scene, because you kind of build up on their relationship, and when he saves Lana, this is where she realizes he can actually fly and all that. And I want to say he knocks the fuck out of these kids, but at the same time, they're like, you're not gonna tell nobody. What are you gonna, they gonna believe you that I can fly around and all this type of shit? Fuck you. Go nurse your nose, you fucking pussy.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
and then
I will say though that like John Romita Jr. though he when he draws all those fucking grade school kids, they are drawn like so fucking creepy looking. Like I don't know what it is, but like all their heads are all like ginormously large, and they all kind of have this like the weird shading on them that should be used for like an adult, but it just looks like a bunch of like they almost just like a bunch of like creepy little midget kids because they all have like they're like short stocky bodies and then these big heads, and it makes them all look like they got like Wolverine beards on with their shading and so on. I don't know. That was the only thing I've ever said. I was like God, these kids are weird. And even Superman himself is just always like has like this weird head turned, you know, with like his Jew-fro kind of going and his blue eyes just kind of looking at you like, hello, mother, I'm here. Or there's one where he's fucking flying through like the corn maze and his head, it just looks like a fish with like its head up just like eating through like a bunch of like kelp or something like that, but it's just Superman like flying through corn. So fucking weird looking.
Yeah, no, it is one of those things. Like, John Romita Jr. is a really good artist. I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw his artwork, I didn't dislike it, but it kind of like stood out to me. But then I started reading a lot of his Spider-Man stuff that came out in the early 2000s, and his work eventually really grew on me. So now when I see his work, I'm like, oh, cool. But yeah, his kids do look weird.
His kids are weird.
Especially this panel. The panel when Martha is feeding Clark as a baby, and he just has his head turned like, here, let me blow this on. Let me blow this for you because it's a little cold. Why, mother? Why? Just kind of has a look on his face. Like,
well, then there's like a weird line there too, where she's like, Clark, we can't just feed you like, you know, meat and eggs all day long or something like that. You here, have some oatmeal. We're fucking poor. It's just as good. Like, Mom, you said that with a question. Mother, you said that with a question. Why can't I eat the little children outside anymore?
How about this, Mother? I'll go fly, and I'll bring back meat. What kind of meat? Meat, Mother. I'll bring it home. Don't question me. Prepare the stove. Just flies through the roof. Like, oh, shit. Okay, we're under the... I guess he's calling the shots now. All right.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like that's the thing. It's like John Romita Jr. Like his artwork's really good. I'm not saying anything against it. It's just for I don't know. It's the kids are just fucking creepy looking. And all of them are. Like doesn't matter who it is. Clark is. Lana's creepy looking even. Like they all have this weird just like I don't know like what's that that John Carpenter movie the one with all the little children in it. The fucking shit. What's that movie?
Village of the Damned. Or?
Yeah. That one. That's what it.
Children of the Corn. Children of the Corn.
No, Children of the Corn's the other one. Village of the Damned is the John Carpenter one. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, kind of really creepy like that, and yeah. Then he just does the whole Smallville thing for a while. He's like, you know what? I feel I can do more. You know, I won the championship at our football team and this and that, and I was holding back, but eventually it comes down to this thing of like, I feel like I got to do more. Sorry, Ma. Sorry, Pa. This is what I got to do, and it's kind of like twisted as a reveal that he's going to join the military, which I think that because I want to go back just to Batman and Robin, Boy Wonder, All-Star Batman and Robin for just a second, just because a part of that was it was kind of analyzing Batman back in the 40s where, you know, he had no problem being a lot more ruthless and he fucking shot people. And then on top of that, he was also, you know, that's where you had a lot of that. That's where that meme comes from of Batman slapping Robin, you know, where people put in their own text. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of this whole thing of like, all right, what if we got rid of the jolly, like, hey there, soldier, come on. Now, boy, knock it off. Now, come on, time to be a man. Let's go fight, you know. Instead of that, it being a lot more of kind of like, all right, let's apply those same values, but put it in modern Batman terms. He come across like a fucking psychopath. So it's kind of meant to be a deconstruction of the character, which I get. Mm-hmm. And I'm open to that. I guess just the fact that it's supposed to be set in the Dark Knight universe and the idea that it was kind of inconsistent and they never got around to tying up these story threads is the thing where it makes it look, okay. But I still like that story. It's just at least interesting, and the artwork's beautiful. But this one, I think it's meant to be, coming back around to this, there was a point in Superman's history where he was out there fighting Hitler and joining, you know, because it was a lot more of kind of like that patriotism back then in the 40s. Now it's a little questionable, like, well, would Superman go off and fight wars? Would he do this? Would he do that? And I know he did in some of Frank Miller's older work, but back in the 40s,
it's because Ronald Reagan was asking for it. You know, if Ronald Reagan asked you to go do it, you'd be like, well, shit, old Ronnie Reagan.
Well, you know,
Superman, you know, there's some people out there.
Well, I think that's the thing that confused a lot of people about like Frank Miller's politics, because he says some very right-leaning shit, but then he has like he clearly doesn't like a lot of right-leaning people. So I think just Frank Miller just hates everybody.
I think he's one of those people just like, I fucking hate politics. It's fucking pissing me off. I think he's just one of those kind of people. Because even like in these books too, there's always like some like slur towards Trump or something like that. And there's just like, it's just like, it's like a Frank thing. He's just got to, if he sees a TV in the background, guess what it's going to say?
Well, we don't luckily we don't have whole pages of like TVs of just chatter. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I'm first reading Dark Knight Returns, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna take it. But then I realized, oh, you're meant just to kind of skim over that. Not all that shit's important. It's kind of meant to just be shit you skim over. And reading it again, that is the part I just kind of I skip a little bit. But
yeah, it's supposed to be like
when he joins
like
the
if
Navy,
you're like watching TV back in the day, and you're almost like channel surfing. You're not really watching it. You're just kind of flipping through. But I think it's like,
and this also had. Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, I was just talking about what happens next. But yeah, you're right. It is almost kind of like channel surfing. Just like static noise, just little news bites. Just go by it. You can read it if you want. But after a while, you learn that stuff is just there for the background. You don't actually have to read it.
Mm-hmm.
But moving forward, once he's actually joining in the Marine or in the Navy, from there on in, throughout this whole book, it has a lot of that kind of like Frank Miller like narration, which he's known for, giving extra information and almost sometimes trying to make it sound more poetic and all that. Like with the power of 1,000 suns, he rises and she trembles, like some shit like that. That's not an actual like line from the book, but it's always something kind of like that. And once he gets there, it's once again kind of like some authority figure. Which is always kind of funny. It's always some authority figure like, God damn it, Kent, you're too fucking good. What's your fucking secret?
America. I know, it's like,
well, he's always...
It's always these things, it's like, this boy, he's just like, he's too fucking good. Like, he's always winning, he's never losing. It's like, that's the only reason why you think that, like, it would almost be like, Pa Kent would be like, it's not that there's anything wrong with Superman joining the military, but it's almost like, whoa, they're gonna fucking figure out your secret the second that you go into the military. Like, that's, you know what, like, that's almost the reason why you can't go in there. Because here's the thing, they go to inject you with one needle and they realize they can't stab you, something's fucking up.
Well, there's that, and then like after a while, one of his like sergeants kind of starts to kind of like him a little more. One of his drill sergeants.
The one who's like,
and then sure enough,
you see those mermaids out there too, huh? Yeah, I think about fucking them every once in a while. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta be careful though. Every once in a while, it gets one of them guys. They go out there, they get stir crazy. They see a mermaid, they're like, I'm gonna fuck that mermaid. They never come back. You remember that? You remember that, Kent boy? You remember that? Don't be fucking mermaids.
The dream may be fucking mermaids, but it comes at a cost. like we're just gonna brush past the fact there's mermaids swimming around out there? Yeah, we're totally gonna brush past it. Go back to sleep. We gotta get up early tomorrow.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
So, you mean the military? We're on a military base. We're not doing nothing to like track down these mermaids. No, we got shit to do. We're too busy trying to fuck them.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And see the thing, but you can't fuck them. That's the thing. You fuck a mermaid, that's it. You're gone. Never to see you again. Happened to Bob last week. You wonder what happened to him.
Can't breathe underwater.
Yeah. You know, I had to write that letter home to his mother. You know what I mean? I just had to make up shit because, you know, you can't tell him that he went out to go fuck a mermaid and never came back. Shit, no mother wants to hear that.
I mean, I got a whole file cabinet of copy and paste shit for when someone tries to go out and fuck a mermaid.
Just one of those things.
It's filled over here. You want to be number 387? Because you can be.
I got a spot for it. I don't want to fill it out, but I will if I have to.
Only thing I gotta change is the name.
That's it.
But again, you look pretty fucking weird. I bet your parents, if I told them you died fucking a mermaid, they'd be like, oh, I saw it coming.
Yeah, he hung out with that goth kid once. I knew everything was downhill from that point.
And then at some point, well, and then you know, they have another thing, like, they gotta find some way to show that he's kind of against the authority and all that, but it has a whole moment where he's out and they're all drinking and Clark doesn't drink and he's always kind of like so reserved and he's just, you know, hanging out with some other people. I remember if it's somebody, if it's just
he's
a
always,
girl at
he's
a
always
bar,
hanging out with somebody else's girl, pretty much.
What was that?
He's always hanging out with like somebody else's girl because it's kind of like that's what it is. Like Clark kind of like hangs out with a girl for a bit and then just like fucking leaves her at this story and goes find somebody else. But like does it like in, I guess you would say like the nicest way you could possibly imagine. You know what I mean? There's like no real like he just leaves him at like the pinnacle moment and then just takes on off, being like, well, I guess I got to go now. He's almost like fucking Kurt Russell's character in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Minus the brain tumor.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's only year one.
So he ends up getting into a bar brawl. Not really a bar brawl, but he stops some guy in a mohawk. Some guy who looks like he'd probably try and start some shit. And like he looks like a villain out of a '90s like video game brawler game of some kind, like out of Streets of Rage or something.
Yeah, totally.
Green mohawk, tattoos. So anyway, so then he goes out swimming. You know what? He says, "I can't fuck a mermaid. I'm gonna prove to him. I'm gonna fuck a mermaid."
So Clark goes down there and finds a bunch of mermaids, fucking fixes their house, while he's at it.
And when you see when you get a close shot of the face, like, oh, dude, are you sure still?
Yeah, they don't look like normal mermaids. They got these kind of like almost like alien looking mermaid kind of design going to them. Kind of cool looking though. Still, I thought the design was a different way to go about for the Atlanteans, I guess.
The tails and the tails and the streamer, the like fin streamer things from like their wrist look cool and all that, but I guess the face though, because they have these weird like the main one that he likes. I don't remember her name, but I could probably find it in here somewhere. Purple lips that kind of like stream up her face with other lines, and a lot of times she just has like these white like pupilless eyes, so they just look kind of like unsettling. And then one of their ships, a submarine, crashed into their city. Like, oh shit, it's fucking war.
Yeah, and Clark's like, oh, I'll fix it. Hold on, we'll clean this up. I got all night. He helps him out. He says, all right, cool, I'm gonna see you later. Then she's like, oh man, I want to fuck that guy and not kill him. And then he ends up coming back. He does like, there's the one drill sergeant. He's just like, all right, Kent, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna beat the fuck out. He just smashed me into the fucking ground. All right, Clint, I'm gonna beat the fuck out. Oh, he just smashed me in the face with this big Nerf stick or whatever we're fighting with. Yeah.
It just kind of happens over and over. And this guy is always like, time to show him what's up. And like, you think after a while, all these fucks would get the hint.
Yeah, I'd be like, there's something wrong with this kid. He's unbeatable.
And then they go on, here's also probably where it kind of falls into the Black Label. The first issue probably falls under the Black Label because of an attempted rape. Granted, it doesn't happen, but that's probably
and it almost like ends so fast that like it's almost like I feel like there'd be people that probably didn't even notice it. Because Superman comes almost a little too
But then here
quick.
we got a bunch of... But then there's an emergency. Like, all right, we know you're still in training, but guess what? Some terrorists just took over a boat. We need you to go in there and take them out. And then you see a bunch of them get shot in with like sniper precision and all that kind of stuff. But then Clark goes in and he doesn't kill any of them, but he's just trying to find ways around it. One comes suicide style, running at him with a bomb, with a grenade, and Clark grabs it and covers it with his hands. And everyone sees it, but everyone's like, "What the fuck?" And his drill sergeant's like, God damn it, I'm proud of you, boy. I mean, you went against the rules, but god damn it, you saved everybody. And then you see this scene where he's basically getting honorably discharged. They're saying like, yo, look, you're really good and all that, but you went against the orders. Because like, but he saved everybody, but you went against orders, so there's the door. Go fuck mermaids.
Yeah, he's pretty much his thing. I need you to kill, and obviously you got something against killing, so mermaids are out that way. That's what I'd do. If I wasn't killing.
And I like he doesn't even like hide it. He's just like, I got all my gear. I'm going for a swim. And the guy's like, God damn the kid, he's living the dream.
Mm-hmm.
He just has this look of like, that boy. I don't know, just funny to me, the idea that he knows, like, well, Graham by that point, he knows he's different. But at the same time, he's all like, is he going in the water? Oh, he's going in the water. He's going to go fuck those mermaids, ain't he? All right. Good for him. All right.
Oh, he's taking all the stuff with him too. He's just going for it.
And then as soon as he gets there, the one mermaid who he came in earlier, she comes back and she's like, "Oh, it's you. Oh, my true love." All this kind of, type of shit. And then he eventually goes and puts on his Superman. It's cool because it's the 1940s looking Superman style, but drawn by John Romita Jr.
Mm-hmm. And well, yeah. And then she's like, "Oh, come meet my dad. Guess who my dad is? He's Poseidon." Who would have guessed? We're in the ocean.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, is there like another subsection of Atlanteans, or did someone come up to Frank Miller and say, "Hey, Aquaman and Atlantis is a thing"? Like, oh, is that so? I got something to tell you. What's that? Fuck you.
Well, it might be like it's just one of those ones like maybe it's just like it's like I like to assume that I know that there's kind of like the 7 like sectors or whatever they have in the ocean down there, but like I think maybe it's like maybe it's just the other city of it. You know what I mean? Like fucking, Aquaman doesn't live with fucking Poseidon and so on. It's like, you know what I mean?
Isn't Poseidon though? Isn't Poseidon kind of like already part of Aquaman history, but in dead and like or something else? Isn't this a different Poseidon?
I mean, no, I was thinking that's the same Poseidon. I don't think there'd be multiple Poseidons. I think it's just one of those ones that's like, this is still the Aquaman Wonder Woman section of DC's type stuff. Like, I don't think there's...
Okay, I just wasn't sure. Because...
I think it's just like, yeah, he's still fucking alive. He ain't fucking dead yet. 10,000, 20,000 years later, whatever.
I'm just going off the movie because Poseidon... Well, I mean, I know the movies often change things, but I'm just going off the movie. And Aquaman, Poseidon was dead years ago. And he's like, go get my fucking pitchfork, So,
this one, he's like, no, I ain't fucking
I'm a
dead.
merman.
Fucking got my mermaid children that I love.
Yeah, so we'll get to that. But basically, he goes in, he fights, but basically it looks like the I'm sure it's something from DC lore, but it looks essentially like the Destroyer from Thor, but a little bit more, but just like underwater version of that, and fights that. And once again, Frank Miller does a good job of making you just hate this villain, just because he has one facial expression the whole time. It's like, yo, I came in, I saved your people from I fixed your house. I just fought that big stone thing. What's up, man? How you doing? Like, you fucked my daughter. That's all. He's just mad about that. He's just mad. And he just always has he's like, dude, sir, you just see what he did? He just destroyed all that shit. He just saved us earlier. He's pretty cool. Like, fuck him. I already made up my mind. Poseidon's not a man who changes his mind easily.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I don't want nobody from outer space to come on down to my fucking ocean and tell me how to run my fucking place. What, is she so fucking special with his little boy-headed Jufro coming down here and underwater, Poseidon? It's like, Poseidon, you're just starting to ramble now. He's like, I don't fucking like this Superman guy. That's all I'm saying. Nothing he can do.
Well, he has the same expression the whole time. He's like, this guy's not that powerful. Watch this shit. Yo, mermaid boys. Go stab him. Oh, shit, that didn't fucking work. All right, go stab him with lava or some shit.
Yeah, use the zippy-zappy things on him.
Fuck, that doesn't work either. Whatever, I don't give a shit. He has the same facial expression the whole time. It's like, he's not that cool. He's a fucking frog. What? Why you call him a frog? Well, he could live outside of water and inside of water. He's a frog. Fuck him. Not like those purists, like, water people with the fucking fins and shit. Like, So it's like, oh, we're one of these. And then, he goes and fights this Leviathan thing.
The Kraken.
Fights it for a little while. And then, beats the fuck out of it, because he's Superman. That's what he does. And this guy is still standing there like, not impressed.
Yeah, exactly. Just doesn't care whatsoever.
It's like, dude, you're in the world of DC Comics. You're a mermaid man. There's so many things cooler than you. You don't realize it.
Yeah, that's what happens when you live underwater your whole life. You just don't. It's literally like living under a rock, but instead you're living underwater.
Well, then it has this whole thing where he kind of comes out and says, like, why are you being such a dick to him? I like this guy. And he's helping us out. Like, yeah, well, you know what? I just want to fuck my daughters. What? Yeah, I want to keep this lineage clean. I don't need no asshole coming in. We're going to keep this shit in the family. Yeah, we're fucking later. Dad! Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, get over it. You ain't getting none of that Kansas anymore. Kansas is gone.
What? Like, watch this. He's gonna fucking leave you the minute he gets bored. No, he's not. No, whatever. Family sticks together.
Oh, wait, look at that. Look at that. There's some Italian girl just fell in the ocean out of a helicopter. Look, he's already going towards her, see? Shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. He, eventually, this Poseidon character just remains stone-faced the whole time and unimpressed. He's just like, I will be back, and leaves, and we never fucking see him again. And then Lois Lane is out there doing some journalism in a little boat, and then by this point the mermaid people are just like, oh, these motherfuckers keep coming by, and they attack her, and Superman's like, no, she's cool, I got this. Like, hey, Superman, your wife's waiting back home. Yeah, I know. I'm just going to get her back to the surface. I'll be right back. Which is
never return.
The Superman equivalent. That's the Superman equivalent of I'm going to go buy a pack of cigarettes.
It really is. And he's out of there. That's it. He just fucking takes her fucking he's like, oh, here, she'll dry off in this palm tree up here.
You know what? I thought the idea of being king of all these mermaid people was going to be cool at first. But then I realized you run out of shit to talk about real fucking quick.
And it's boring as fuck down here, just saying.
Yeah, Under the Sea song, yeah, fuck that crab. That crab lied to me.
I didn't realize that song was still that popular 30 years later.
They play it on a loop here. That's the only song on the fucking radio.
It just keeps going on and on. But
that's why I don't even go to any bar in there, because that's the only song they play.
Yeah, it's worse than that Lego
Can we
movie
throw on some Bob Marley? I mean, it sounds Bob Marley is still kind of similar in tone, but just like, good lyrics. Can we try that? No, sorry, man.
Oh, here we go again.
This is the only thing Poseidon liked that came from the surface world.
Yeah, that's it. Well, really quick.
Did you see the rest of the movie? What fucking movie are you talking about?
Yeah, what movie is it going on? But,
oh shit, this will be too long to explain.
So, like, Superman literally grabs Lois Lane, throws her, like, in a palm tree, flying out of there, being like, yep, what's going on, bro?
And then he goes and lands on, like, a beach. He's like, I smell bitch. And then a couple of, like, military guys come like, you fucking see us. I'm fucking Carol, let's do this. And I'm not sure if he says he knew these guys, but he can kind of sense some of their training because he was a SEAL at one point. And he starts fighting these guys again with ease, and I think it's implied that maybe, I don't remember all the dialogue, that some of these guys might be some of the guys he trained with. Because there's that one guy who was always eager to beat the shit out of Kent, but never could, and he was just like, why can't I do it? Because you suck.
Yeah. So it's like you got these, like, frogmen guys out there and so on trying to take down Superman, which, you know how that goes. But, of course, Superman's just like, yeah, whatever, I'll play along.
And they come out with all these special weapons designed because they know that there's like, there's some guy flying around in the ocean. Like I know there's the people in the water, but there's a guy who will fly out of the water and do shit. We know about this guy, so we gotta be prepared. Also, he's on like military soil right here. So basically, he goes to them like, I just want you guys to take care of this girl. She's not in any danger. I was just trying to help her out. All right. And they're like, actually, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take her back myself. So that's what he does, and she's still kind of in shock of the whole thing, and she has a little bit of a narration, and he just kind of wraps her up, like swaddles her in his cape. He's like, Daddy's got you, and like flies off with her.
Yes, they put you in the cape there, in the super cape. My mom she went through 3 sewing machines to sew this together, just to let you know. I don't know why I'm talking like drunk Batman.
Comes out of it through Frank Miller writing.
Yeah, Frank Miller kind of embodies like the drunk Batman-ness.
So then he just kind of goes through him, just in a montage of him going through and saving people throughout Metropolis. He's like, you know what? Fuck the ocean. I get it. I've seen it. Let's move on. And goes to Metropolis, just leaves his whole old life behind like he did the last issue.
Just like Lana Lang, like there's like a scene where it's just like she's sitting on the roof like, yep, that's how I remember her. Sitting on the roof, waiting for her Superman, waiting for that super cock.
Well, she was holding a sign, like, just P.S. I love you, because she knew he would sing, because, like, he's Superman, so we could hear stuff miles away, and apparently she was singing some song that she knew that he would hear, and he turned and used a supervision on the train, and saw her just holding a sign saying, I love you, come back, or something, or P.S. I love you, and she's smiling with a single tear. So, it's just one of those things
that... marry Pete Ross.
Do you want that? Can you live with that? And even that's even sad for Pete, because Pete's like, yeah, I knew that. I knew that she always kind of liked him, because no one wants to be like, well, I guess he's runner up. It's like one of those things like after they're done fucking, he's like, was that good for you? Like, oh yeah, it was good. It was good. It was nice. It was wonderful. Like, well, was it really good? Was it as good as
Was it super? That's all I'm asking. Was it super? I just want to know. Can I be a super guy?
It was just great. Like, fuck. God damn it.
Because that's the thing. Lana Lang, like, her life is all. She's like the example. I guess that's also the example of like that chick. There's no way. It's all downhill from that point on. There's nothing that's ever gonna top like the fucking hanging out with Clark Kent. You know what I mean? Like shit. She peaked at 17.
Well, at the same
time, she literally
time...
had like fucking Times Galaxy a Guy of the Year, and that's it. And then of course he's out fucking. He's like,
it's kind of hard to go back to anything after Clark Kent, I imagine. I mean, I guess you could probably. I guess the thing from there is hitch up with another superhero, but you're in fucking Smallville. That's the thing about that. So it's just like, well, he comes by once in a while, but it's usually only like on Thanksgiving or Christmas or something. So, he's doing shit with his own family. So good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly.
He's bringing around that fucking bitch reporter wife.
Yeah, exactly. And he went into the fucking ocean for a while and, fucking sowed his wild oats with some mermaids and their father.
Till he got bored.
Till he got bored. Because that's really what the story is. It's like every single, like, kind of like chapter, I guess you'd almost say, or what have you. It's just like Superman, he does stuff for a while and then it's like, I'm kind of done. Whatever. Like, been there, done that. Like, it's like, it's almost like, almost if there was like more books to this, it'd be like impress me. I'm fucking Superman. Like, what?
I'll
like,
say
what?
some of this.
Owa, not that fucking special. Just saying. Superman. What?
I don't need the ring.
Green Lantern. I don't need the ring. Put the ring on my dick just for, why? Because I can.
Go on, try to pull it off. Try it. Yeah. No, I'll say this. Something about the way Frank Miller, like, how do I put this? I never was really overly offended with the way he portrayed Superman because he was always telling, what if stories to some extent. And on top of that, I feel like it's just not his main character. It's not his main character. So the fact that he's going in and trying to do a year one Superman is interesting. And out of that, it's not the number one Superman that comes to mind, because this Superman, I think the way he views Superman, and a lot of people view him, is they view him as this god. And he's this guy who's constantly holding back. And if you're constantly holding back, everything might get boring to you. And he at no point abuses his power. And there's no real struggle he ever has at any point in this book. And it ends on a part before there's even kryptonite. So, for that reason, he always just looks like he's like kind of sleepy. He has a half smirk. And I think that a version that was handled better was All-Star Superman, because even though he had that, the Superman in year one still does good things, but I think just he had, like, because Grant Morrison's whole portrayal of him in All-Star Superman was, if you had the power of a god, you would be pretty chill, you probably would be pretty zen, but at the same time, he found a way to fit more emotion into the character in that book. This is still very much a guy's like, he's not a human, so I'm not going to treat him like a human. I'm going to treat him as a guy who is, like, all-powerful, and he kind of knows he's all-powerful, and he's a little, maybe in some ways, kind of cocky, but he tries to reserve it and hold it back.
Yeah, because it kind of has that sort of feeling and stuff, too. And then, even as he is kind of going on, then it starts introducing sort of like, I guess, your typical Superman characters, because you start getting like, oh, there's a hostage crisis at, like, Lex Luthor's, like, fucking, I would say embassy, but not embassy, at his, like, manor and whatnot. And you start getting that kind of in there. And then, of course, Batman shows up, and Batman's like, I fucking hate Lex Luthor. Fucking, he's always getting away with Bruce Wayne's plans. That's the thing here.
He's always fucking with Wayne Corp. He's always, like, inviting him to all the Wayne Corp parties.
Yeah, hey, Bruce, why do you care about that Wayne guy so much? I don't know, just, like, it's one guy's business to another, just saying.
Just seems like a cool guy to hang out with. Well, they do the thing that a lot of the year one style stories do, which is they show him quickly in a montage knocking out, like, crimes on all levels. And usually, this almost seems like a Spider-Man thing, but I could see this is like, well, this gives us an opportunity to maybe give Superman a little bit more personality. Like, he'll leave a sign on him, like, my name is Iggy Bacco, and I deal heroin to children. My name is Freddie Karn. I'm a rapist. I'm Mac 500. I use a gun to rob people. My name is Trina Poole. I steal people's life savings. So he'll do that kind of shit. So he's getting people on all levels of crime.
Yeah, he's just lining them up and stuff. He's like, you do the fucking paperwork. I did the fucking hard work.
I'm busy saving. So, and there you get, mild-mannered Clark Kent going in and trying to save, people, and there's a crisis situation, LexCorp, and there we get to see how well he handles under pressure. And I think because this book's been getting a lot of shit, but I think it's because it's so simple. But it's like, it's his first year, so it makes sense why it's so simple. Because it's before he has any real threats.
And I think that's the thing is like there's really like nothing wrong with the book at all in the whole thing. I just think that like sometimes I think some people just expect they're like it's Frank Miller, it's John Romita Jr. It goes to Superman and the Batman, and they're not doing Superman Batman stuff. Like I think that people start getting that fucking they almost start getting kind of like I'm just gonna say it. They get kind of retarded. Like they just really expect something to be like fucking like fireworks show like on the 4th of July, and it's like if it's not
Every
a fucking
time.
firework, yeah. It's just like sometimes it's like you can have just a light kind of like subtle story, and that's what this one sort of is. I mean, it's even got like the Joker in it, but the Joker's just fucking casual in it too. He's just like hanging back. There's even a part where like him and fucking like Lex Luthor just like sitting on like a subway train, being like, "Yo, what's up? You want to do some business? Yeah, let's do some fucking business." It'll be funny.
Well, I don't remember how exactly, but it's implied. I think that because there's the building of where the LexCorp building where the hostage thing happened, and Lex Luthor's like, I already don't like this guy. He's too strong. I gotta make sure I get a leash on this guy. So he calls him in. There's already tension, but for a split second, Luthor and Superman are like, all right, I can tell that there's gonna be a power struggle here, but at the same time, I think we should work together because I think with my intellect and your strength, there's a lot we can get done. So let's make this happen. And they're kind of passive aggressive to each other through dialogue. But he's like, okay, all right, we'll try this out for a minute. And for a split second, Lex Luthor's like, I want you to go after the terrorist Batman out in Gotham City. And even Clark is kind of like, Gotham's a rough place. I kind of get it why he does what he does. So it's like, all right, well, even at this point, Superman's still kind of like cool with Batman. Because sometimes he's like, hey, Bruce, you're a little too tough on people. He's like, fuck off. You know, and then there's
we
other
get
times,
you.
I got a kryptonite ring.
It's like Bruce, you know you can't run away. Like he's just going for it. He's just, hey, what are you gonna do? I'm running 15 miles per hour. Fuck you, Clark. Suck my dick.
He's like, I'll let him get to the end of the block.
It's the little things in life, you know.
Oh, fuck you! You cheated.
I even like is like when because Batman's up there and he's fucking like has like the bat signal on or whatever. It's like, okay, yeah. So Clark shows up. And he's like, okay, Bruce, what do you want? He's like, fucking punch him. Like, oh shit, that didn't work. He's like, God, he keeps like using all these weapons against me. Like, oh, hold on, I got this stun gun. Oh, shit. Okay, well, maybe we'll just have to talk it out. But wait a second. Okay.
That does happen, but before that even happens, though, it shows him like fucking with LexCorp again out in the Gotham Harbor, and they actually show Batman with a gun. But I guess it's meant to be like that period. It's referencing the early years of Batman, back when he had a gun for a minute.
Yeah, maybe that's kind of what it's going for. Because you always kind of wonder. You do that thing. There's like that thing where you do when you see Batman with a gun, where you kind of go, well, maybe it's like a grappling gun, or maybe it's like a goo gun, or maybe it's like a fucking stun. You try to like defend like why he would be carrying around something.
I think just Frank Miller, he's doing two things. One, he's trying to be shocking, and at the exact same time, he's also like, well, technically, if you look at his history, I mean, they retconned it now. Their point where he shot fuckers dead, like right on the spot, dead. And I think that he's like, well, so it's not too far out of history if there's a period where he had a gun. And they even referenced that in Batman Year 2, where he's sporting, where it's like, you know what, maybe I will use a gun, but I won't kill people with it. And then he goes back like, nah, it's too dangerous, too dicey.
I'll just shoot him in the kneecaps.
Yeah. Problem solved.
Just
I don't like, oh, well, I'm not going to solve your riddle. Want to know why? Bam! Fuck you.
That's an idea.
You got another kneecap. We can keep doing this. I don't have to kill you. I can shoot you in both kneecaps. What's left of that? Elbows, fingers.
Well, I think it's that old fashioned thing where it's just like, well, yeah, he would like realistically he would go shoot him. It's kind of like almost like in like the the original Ninja Turtles. They're like, yeah, they killed the Shredder at the very first like issue. Why? Because he was the bad guy. Like we didn't think he was gonna keep coming around. We just thought that was just what you did.
So in this one, but then basically after that,
Wonder Woman shows up and is like, yo. Superman.
Well, even before that, they have a press conference with Superman and Lex Luthor, and people are like, "So you guys are working together to stop all the crime in the world?" Like, yes, we are. And then he says, "So that means you're going to go after the Batman?" And then Clark's like, "Well, I don't know about Lex." Is like, "Oh yeah, he's going to fuck up Batman." Like, oh shit, this is a bad idea. Here we go.
So you're just like setting it up right then and there, and so on.
Now, I'll say this version of Joker they do, because you then find out that Lex Luthor kind of is part of the reason why Joker has laughing gas. Because he's going in there saying, I need you to come up. He gives him money, actually, to come up with, I need you to come up with a new drug to spread around. Like, I got one. What if it makes him just, like, start laughing to death? Like, get creative. I don't care. It's not my city. So do what you want. I'll have funds going into your account pretty soon. And they even have some small little moments, Joker, where he's thinking to himself, like, he's on the phone, like, I should probably just be alone in my own head for a moment, but that's too much trouble. Maybe ignorance is bliss. Let's go on my phone. Ooh, yay, an orphanage burnt down. That's funny, you know. Small things kind of like that, but then Batman comes in, just as Satan comes in, grabs Joker by the neck, and from there, it's like, all right, well, Batman already doesn't like Superman because he's like, you're working with Luthor, aren't you?
Yeah, here he's already does. He's like, I fucking hate Luthor. Always getting in the way of my stock meetings.
Just walking in, bringing fucking Popeye's chicken for everybody.
Yeah,
those sandwiches are hard to get. Even I gotta wait in line for. Getting those chicken sandwiches that even I have trouble getting. Even fucking Batman. Somehow he has a friend that works at Popeyes. I don't know how that works, but yeah. And it's not even like a guy in upper management. It's a guy named Cletus who works at the register.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who put the 20 years in, you know? Like, he was like, he got one job in life and said that's it.
And somehow Luthor's friends with that guy. I don't know how that works, but yeah.
Yeah, you think that'd be the anti-Luthor friend, but no.
What do they usually talk about? Politics?
Oh, that's... Yeah, I know. I just say it's not worth asking any more past that point because, well, shit, fucking... Luthor's Popeye.
Here all day. I don't want Cletus to become his next like right-hand man or his next fucking arch enemy. Cletus is probably one like, you know, Friarburn away from becoming the next Metallo.
Yeah. But yeah, then I guess this is the part where like Clark goes to meet Bruce like up on next to the bat signal and whatnot, and they have their kind of little scuffle and so on, and then of course Wonder Woman shows up and's like, boys, what are you doing up here? We have problems to be solved. Like, always the woman. The skirt's coming in to fucking ruin it.
Well, even this whole scene with Batman, like, because once again, like, all right, let's go for a handshake, psych, you know, and like tries to electrocute him or tries to do whatever. This whole scene, I think it's kind of meant to be. I mean, there's a scene where in Dark Knight 3 where Batman says, "Son of a bitch," he was holding back the whole time, but in this one. It's also him just saying, like, look, all those people who said I was being a dick to Batman or being a dick to Superman and made Batman way cooler than he was. Sorry, I still like Batman the most, but here's just a little makeup for that. Plus, this is a younger, more arrogant, more rash Batman. It doesn't feel like the Batman from year one. Maybe, like, I don't know. Maybe according to this, though, he's probably been doing it since year one. I'm wondering if this takes place in the same year one Dark Knight universe.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it could.
The bat symbol, maybe.
It kind of feels like its own little, like, solo type story. Like, I just kind of picture Batman sort of been doing this already for, like, a handful of years in this kind of version.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I always kind of viewed year one as its own, it's part of the actual continuity, but then it also used as a leaping off point for the Dark Knight verse. Like, are they, like, for as far as Batman up to that point, year one is kind of like this origin point, and from there you get multiple what-if universes or the main continuity. So I was wondering if this is part of that or what, but either way, you know, it's kind of like, I think it's meant to show a lesser experienced Batman, and you could be a lesser experienced Superman and still pan out. Why? Because you're fucking Superman. Who's going to hurt you? You haven't met Brainiac yet. You haven't met Darkseid yet. You haven't fought Metallo yet.
Yeah, shit, you haven't even fought just even like someone like Wonder Woman yet, who shows up here and says, boys, now stop that scuffling.
But man...
the skirt show. Come on, lady, get out of here. This is man time. I was gonna strut around nude up here, but now I can't, because now there's a woman here. Shit.
Just makes it weird.
Yeah, you're just ruining the vibe and stuff. Like, oh, don't kiss Clark. No, you don't do that. This is our time. Hey, Clark! Goes to punch. Oh, okay, well, that didn't work either. I was going to punch you in the face, but, well. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you got a weak spot somewhere. You know what I mean? You know, like how, like, those velociraptors, like, in Jurassic Park kept trying the fence at different places looking for a weak spot? Well, that's kind of what I'm doing. probably should not have told you that, but my inner monologue just seems to kind of leak out sometimes.
Don't worry, I'll find it. I'll find that wee part of the fence, and when I do, I'll tilt my head up and go, and then all of a sudden my 5 robins will come in and attack you like the velociraptors I trained to be. You know, birds came from velociraptors.
They'll circle around you like in that Jurassic Park 3 scene.
Yeah, sure, Batgirl can come in too. You can fight Wonder Woman, so that way it's not weird or unfair.
Yeah, you know, it's okay. But yeah, you know. And then it's almost like in this book, too, they even have this thing where it's like Superman's like, well, hey, there's another chick I could kind of bang. Huh, like, you know, whatever.
To be continued on that.
But then he's like, huh, space. And Wonder Woman's like, hey, you better give me a kiss before you leave.
Oh, before that even happens, because they throw the lasso of truth over Lex Luthor. They interrogate him. They interrogate him saying, okay, what's the plans? Yeah, I was a bad guy. I did do this. I did do that. Yeah. Oh my God, this lasso is amazing. I can make money off this. Like, shut the fuck up. Tell us what we want to know. And then eventually, somehow he talks about I came across a threat from space. Something's like left Brainiac. From your people. Yeah. It's called Brainiac. He says, I'm off to do that shit. And I don't think that it's meant to go like there will be a second chapter. I think it's supposed to be I think it's just meant to be kind of like, all right, from here, this is where Superman we know goes on. But it feels kind of like, man, they're in this, I'm just going the last few pages. They're just in this room for a couple of pages now, just talking to Luthor with a rope around him. What's going to happen? Like, oh, to be continued, but I guess we know what happens from there, you know?
Yeah, it's like, once again, it's even like the ending's kind of subtle. But I still think that works in a weird way. Like, it's like one of those ones, like, I think that's the thing. Is somebody's just expecting some big fucking battle, and there's just none of that really in there. It's more just like a hangout Superman script.
Well, to be fair, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, there is like action, but like it is just more just Superman kind of just testing the waters on all kinds of stuff. Really, at the end of the day, seeing what he can put his dick in and what he can't put his dick in.
So I'm going to space. Let's see if we can skull fuck this brain guy.
Yeah, where's Oa at? I get my green fuck on.
I can do this in front of Oa just to show him dominance. Just make hard eye contact with the so-called wise ones while I do it. See how they react. The Guardians. The Guardians. That's what they are.
Yeah, well, I'll just fucking lock the door on there and chase their little midget asses around. Big old fucking super cock. What are they gonna do? Just Superman running around with a giant fucking boner chasing the Guardians.
These little like guys look like
all
Baby
he's got
Yoda
on is the cape. He's just got the cape on. That's it. Fucking like
yeah,
cowboy.
When you go to space, you know, I'm good because I'm on Earth and people are around who know me. But here, it's just like shit. It's like when some rich people go to Mexico. Like, what are they doing? Oh, probably like bang some hookers and like kill some hobos. I don't know.
You know, I met this guy named Guy Gardner. He gets it.
Fist bump.
Shit, I even thought about getting myself a bowl cut just after I saw Guy Gardner with his.
He says it's staying around forever. It ain't ever going out of style. So yeah, that's this book, and it sounds kind of like we were kicking it in the dick. I mean, I liked it. It was good. It wasn't like amazing, but it was good. I think it's kind of hard to capture lightning in a bottle that many times. So if you just get a Frank Miller book that's pretty good, then I think that's a win. I do think, though, it was when I first heard it, I was a little more excited for it because I was imagining it being kind of like year one in the aspect of like a slow analyzation of him, you know, like, okay, we see him planting like the bombs outside the Falcone mansion. So just kind of give that effect and making the smoke. So we kind of know he's not perfect. He's still learning. We see him tripping up and slipping a few times. So I like the simplicity of that is interesting. So I thought it was going to be something kind of like that. But then again, I guess by this point we've seen 1,000 Superman origin stories.
Yeah, it's like there's so many like, you know, year one kind of DC type books. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, like I'm always down for anything Frank Miller. Like, at the end of the day, it's like, you tell me there's a Frank Miller book that he's writing, it's like, I'm there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to really even question it, because, like, even like the Frank Miller books that might be like maybe like an okay book is still a pretty like interesting book in itself. And that's like how I feel this one. This one's like it's a nice solid middle of the road. Like there's nothing really wrong with it. You know, it's not like an all-star Superman. It's not like Superman Red Son or or even like I guess you could even say like Dark Knight Returns and that kind of stuff too. But it still is kind of like an interesting way, and it's different. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, yeah. It's calm Superman. It's subtle Superman. It's him hanging out with fucking creepy children Superman.
My favorite quasi Superman origin story I think I've ever read, and it's kind of controversial given the guy it comes from, is Superman American Alien by Max Landis. The thing about it is each chapter is a different period in his life. It's like the first chapter, and it's meant to kind of give off a certain tone, and each individual issue has a different art style. And the first one, it's him when he's a little kid, and it's kind of like a little bit of that sense of wonderment. It has a little bit more of a heartwarming type of story. Second one, when he's a teenager and his powers are developing, it's a little darker, and some like fucking like really hateable like gangbanger kid comes back to his family to Smallville. Yeah, and Superman tries to save the day and tries to stop some stuff from happening, but out of that, someone shoots him in the face with a shotgun. He doesn't die, but his eyes go off and basically burn this guy's arms off right there, by accident. So it's still third one. It's just kind of like more of a comical story about him traveling the world and then landing, like, because the plane he's on like it's just a small little skimmer plane, but it crashes out in the ocean, and there's a yacht out there, like, that's Bruce Wayne, like, what, you're Bruce Wayne, like Oliver Queen is on the boat like, it's Bruce Wayne's party, and then like Minerva, who's actually the Cheetah before she becomes Cheetah, comes up to him and just says, and she's basically like a con artist, but she's there crashing the party. She's like, well, all these guys they're a bunch of assholes who always throw a party on Bruce Wayne's yacht, and Bruce Wayne never shows up, and they just pick someone who they claim is Bruce Wayne. They just go off that, but you actually kind of look like him, so it pans out. And basically, it's just kind of a funny story. He's kind of contemplating life. They fuck at some point, and at the end of that, like you see Batman training in the League of Assassins, and then like Ra's al Ghul's like fighter, like warrior of bats. There's a message you might want to see, and there's a news tabloid thing like party boy Bruce Wayne throws an epic like shindig or whatever, and then Batman's just like, who's that on my yacht? And then there's one that's kind of like an Aaron Sorkin style, like reporter story when he's upcoming in Metropolis. There's one where it's kind of like he's going back home to Smallville after he's starting to get big, and he's starting to kind of reconnect with friends. That one kind of goes more of like a dramatic comedy. And then there's one where he's like battling Lobo, and it's this crazy epic battle that it ends on. There's another one where it's him going through the learning curves of being Superman. And it's just I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling here, but even though Max Landis is a douchebag, he really understands Superman. I'll say that.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a pretty interesting book in itself, right there. Just like a bunch of different stories, each one kind of having their own unique thing, and there is some like creative writing. It looks like thrown on top of it. So I'd be interested in checking that one out.
Yeah, Superman American Alien. It's probably one of my most favorite recent Superman stories. Recent, I guess, as in like 4 years or something, but yeah.
But yeah, always kind of cool Superman stuff anyways, no matter what. I think that's the thing about Superman is like people like a lot of times whenever someone kind of says they don't like Superman, I just feel like you just probably never read a Superman comic before, because I feel like there's so much depth in like a great Superman book that I just don't think that the average person sees. I think because they get this kind of like stereotype of Superman, of like who he is, and it's like that's not really it though. It's like you don't get it. It's like when you read a Superman book, I don't know what it is. It's like there's something like you just kind of you get more than just being like, oh, it's a guy with a bunch of powers. You know what I mean? There's just like a lot more philosophy in it. There's a lot more kind of like wondery and like how is he going to deal with this and like that kind of stuff that I would almost sometimes even say like exists even more than like even a Batman book or like even other superhero stuff. So granted, this Frank Miller one has
good.
Oh, I was just gonna say this Frank Miller one just kind of like captures that in its own sort of light, subtle way. But what were you gonna say?
Sorry to cut you off there. The delay happened to me right there. Have you did you hear what Warner Brothers said about Superman and Neil Gaiman's response?
No, I didn't hear that. That didn't
It's
pop
just
up my
like,
Warner
God,
Brothers email.
I mean, I like a lot of the movies Warner Brothers makes, but who's ever in the head of a lot of times the guys running, I guess, the comic book or the DC department, you guys need to shut the fuck up and go away and let someone who knows what they're doing take over, right? You just got to just shut the fuck up and let them do what they do. Someone in comics or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. One of them said, like, though we really look forward to making another Superman movie in the future, we're going to put him on hold for a while till we can find a version of Superman that resonates with modern audiences. It's like, you dumb motherfuckers just don't fucking get it. And Neil Gaiman wrote back something just straight up, like, summed it up perfectly. He says, like, you don't need to resonate with modern audiences. You just make something inspiring.
Simple, to the point. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just like what's like you hear those kind of answers, and it's like, God, it's just such like numbers and statistics, and just like, it's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not really like, that's not Superman's fault that like, I think, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's just that thing too. People don't get, like, maybe you got to give it just a couple like tries. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's like Man of Steel. It's like, that's for like a select audience, I think, at the end of the day. I mean, granted, I'll say it's not a mainstream movie like how a Marvel movie sort of is, where it kind of like is like middle of the road. It can kind of capture just about anybody. Like Man of Steel's like, it's kind of I always call those like movies are kind of a hardcore audience. And I know that, like, you know, that doesn't mean that they need to make like kind of more of a mainstream one, because personally for me, like, I don't want to see like a more mainstream one. But that's not saying that if you took something like All-Star Superman, just took it right out of the fucking pages and turned it into a live-action movie, I bet you'd get exactly what you're looking for.
I think there is a way to walk that middle ground, because I think the thing with Man of Steel, because we talked about that 1,000 times on the show, I'm not going to reiterate the whole thing again, but just the whole thing, the short and simple of it is, if someone says they don't like Man of Steel, and they say, not because of the body count, but because of how, like, tonally and how dark it is, or how intense it is, I get that, but it's something different than what I've seen, because everything I saw that wasn't comic-wise in Superman was just trying to ape Richard Donner. And I love Richard Donner.
The Fleischer era, pretty much, almost at the end of the day, too.
Yeah, and I love that, but after a while, you kind of want to try something a little different. Even after a while in Smallville, even though they started bringing in other characters from DC, initially when they really toned down and focused in on Superman, it was just aping a lot of Richard Donner style stuff. So much the theme song, even the look of the Fortress of Solitude and the whole crystal shit. So after a while, it's like, okay, I love that. I love it. I get why everyone else loves it, but we can try to mix it up. We can try and go something different. And that's why I give Man of Steel credit. Now, Batman v Superman maybe went a little too far in that direction, but at least Man of Steel, I thought, was like, all right, you guys tried something different, and I like that. And overall, I think that's an enjoyable movie. But I do think there's a good middle ground to maybe not make it like as... I think by this point, Marvel's got it down pretty well. I mean, they've had it down really well for a while. But, I mean, I think the last few movies they did, you know, like the last Spider-Man movie, as well as, like, Avengers Endgame, it's like, all right, you guys definitely know how to make, like, some of the best superhero movies by this point. Not the best, I mean, like, some of the best.
And, you know, the Marvel ones, I feel like they're fine as they are, but like what I always like about the DC, it's like the same thing almost even with like comics too, is like the DC ones, I just feel like they got that they take it just that little bit more serious, and that's always my fear, is that the DC ones are going to get to the point where they'll be like, well, let's not take it as serious as we once did, and let's just make it kind of fun, kind of popcorny movie. And it's like there's a time and a place that's fine for that, but I feel like it's kind of like it's the Star Trek Star Wars kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like, the people that like really popcorny movies generally aren't the people that are going to gravitate towards, like, you know, or is not the Star Trek fan. You know what I mean? I almost feel like that's sort of like how DC sort of is. It's like the people who really like DC stuff, they like stuff that they get to think about, and it's got like a more in-depth story, and you know, maybe it's tragic, maybe it's dramatic, maybe it's dark and gritty and so on like that. And I feel like that's my only fear is I just hope they don't try to just like ape the Marvel thing. It's like, because that's fine for Marvel. Marvel can do that. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, like, I'd love to see more darker Marvel stuff, and they, you know, they have that, you know, with, like, Logan and so on. I mean, if you got, like, the Fox movies, but it's one of those ones, that's my only fear is that I hope that, like, the DC ones don't cave into doing that and then trying to do what the other guy does, because that's always, like, the thing that I always feel like when you have two different companies, and then one of the companies tries to become the other company, it's like, you don't get it. Like, the reason why people like your company is because you're not the other company.
I think the whole thing about that is DC. I think they're both equally as dark and both equally as lighthearted as the other. It just depends on which books you're reading. But I think, since like DC's biggest character, I mean, you know, maybe not the top character of all DC, but really the most popular character is Batman. So that's gonna affect the image of everything else around it. Especially with how many Batman spin-offs you got, you know, ranging from Batman to like however many titles with Batman in the
Okay, well, it's kind of like, you know, like it does. I mean, like by that standard, it does kind of make sense because you got DC, you got Batman being the dark one, being the main character of them all. Where Marvel, if you kind of go old school Marvel, you got Spider-Man, who is really like the lighthearted, fun one, which would generally create the entire tone of the Marvel universe if you think about it, just from those two main characters of the last, like, you know, 50 years of, like, in a sense. But I don't know.
A fun Frank Miller book. Not the best Superman book, but still a fun book.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. Go check out Superman Year One, Frank Miller, fun times. We'll put a little link in the description there. Other than that, though, go to oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, comics like Pizza Boyz. That's Pizza Boyz of a Z. And I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
We'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks again for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Sure, check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, music, animation, and a whole lot more. We also have the Old Man Orange blog going with all kinds of fun stuff. If you easily want to support the show, use one of our Amazon links either on the website or in the description of the podcast below. Rate, review, and subscribe to the show either on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Newgrounds, or anywhere else that you seem to get this podcast from. Grab the sitcom-styled comic book Pizza Boyz on either Comic Central, Comixology, or Amazon. Want more podcasts? Check out the Indie Comics Club over at Comic Central. I also got a workout website called Thor's Hidden Gym, filled with fitness tips and tricks, videos, and a whole lot more fun stuff in the calisthenics world. Talk to us on Twitter at Spencer S. Holmes and Dunigan Ryan. Like our Facebook pages of Old Man Orange Productions and Pizza Boyz Comic. Thanks again, we're out of here.